Welcome back, guys, to CFL Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we have our review here of week 15 after about 20 minutes of me and Rick saying we're going to do the video and then us getting distracted by like everything and not doing it.
So let's just put this out there. I was sitting there for over an hour earlier. This guy's like, oh yeah, I'm going to call you. I'm sitting there over an hour. I had to put all my stuff aside. This guy's like, oh yeah, I'll call you.
Shut up, Rick. Don't expose me like that.
Anyways.
So we got our first game of the week. So this week we got 2 upsets and 2 almost upsets. And we're going to start with an almost upset where the Toronto Argonauts narrowly beat the Alouettes by a score of 23-20. Man, it really looked like the Alouettes were going to pull away with it. And it's even like, it's funny because you can see how back and forth this is. Like if you look at the first quarter, Argonauts, they get themselves a touchdown, holds the Alouettes to only a field goal. So a good quarter by the Argonauts there. They'd follow it up with another quarter win with a field goal in the second, holding the Alouettes to nothing. However, the Alouettes strike back in the third, going 10-3. And then in the fourth quarter, 10-7, very, very close game to the bitter end. This was an exciting game to watch. What did you think about
Don't forget, because I know Argo fans won't let me live down this. They could have tied the game at the very last second, but they came out and blocked the field goal. So technically, it could almost have been a tied game and gone to overtime, but they came out with a block. So I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, and you know what? You want to know a stat that's going to hurt your brain there, Rick?
Fletcher led with 29 rushing yards.
That Cody Fajardo has a better completion ratio than Chad Kelly for this game.
Oh, you want to know something even funnier that I took up from my notes for this game?
And what was it?
That our lovely friends, Cody Fajardo.
Yep.
I believe now has 42 sacks on the season.
And what was his record last year in Saskatchewan?
77. And he started game with 37 sacks, and he finished with 42.
He started this game with 37?
Yeah, tied with Crum.
You're saying that he got sacked 7 times this game?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Go look at the numbers.
I'm going to go look at the numbers. I knew he got sacked, but like, hold on a second. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sacks.
Oh, sorry, 6. My apologies, 41.
Because I see that McManus got 2, Barlow got 2, Oakman got 1, and
if you
I see 5.
If you go by CFL.ca, they have 6.
Okay, who's the other one that they had?
So Barlow had 3.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. So because they have Barlow having 2 here on. I'm just using the score app.
Yeah, McManus had 2.
Yep, I had that.
And then Oakman had 1.
Okay, so then
6.
the score app must just be missing one of the sacks by Barlow.
Yeah.
I see. No,
irregardless, 41 times.
Like that's pathetic. Well, it's one of those things where it's actually kind of a miracle that the Alouettes are in second place when Cody Fajardo, and how is Cody Fajardo able to, he's like one of the only quarterbacks who hasn't had any injury this season. He's getting just absolutely hammered in the backfield.
My question is, how is he still alive and not injured at least once?
Out of all those sacks, you'd think that one of them you'd tweak something.
Say if he's going to get injured, it's either going to be in one of the last 2 games, maybe against us in the last game of the season, or it's going to be playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be quite something. But I mean, if we're looking here, so I mean, solid game for Boris Beatty. He would hit a 47-yard field goal in that second quarter. He would get that last one near the end of the game, that 38-yarder. Overall, not like. How do we feel about Chad Kelly this game? He goes 21 for 35. gets a touchdown, doesn't throw any picks, goes 275 yards, but 21 for 35 is maybe not exactly ideal. And it's one of those things where if you're an Argonauts fan, you maybe should be a little bit worried in the sense of like those 14 passes that are just missed. If you're playing against, like, not gonna lie, my Blue Bombers, our next game is against you, you Argonauts. To me, those 14 missed passes have Demario Houston written all over it. So, just saying.
What I would like to see is if you take McMahon from Toronto, put him up by McAllister, go from one end zone to another, which one of the two is the fastest? Because when he was running returns and just running like rushes in this game for Toronto, that guy was fast. If you see when we come up to our next game, what McAllister did, he was fast. So I just want to take one game, just put both of them on one goal line and say, okay, you two on the count of three are going to race.
We're gonna have you guys running.
See which one can outrace the other.
Just having them run 110s. There you go. There you go. But overall, it's one of those things where
the rushing yards, like for both teams, was just low this game. I mean, Ouellette had 53 with one touchdown.
That's really low for AJ Ouellette. Like it's it's not that that's like bad, but it's like, I mean, it's just not as advertised, I'd say, in the sense of AJ Ouellette is a fantastic running back in this league, and is a guy that you'll regularly see him put up at least 70, a lot of times even over 100 in a game. So just getting only 53 is maybe not exactly what you would hope in terms of your rushing offense. But overall, it was an exciting game to watch. 23-20 victory for the Toronto Argonauts. And let's get into our next one here, where we go from almost an upset to an upset, where the Edmonton Elks win with a 9-point lead in Saskatchewan over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And it's one of those things where if the Bombers had beat the Riders both times, if the Elks had beat the Stamps both times, Rick would have gotten what he wanted, which was absolute chaos in the Elks fighting for a playoff spot.
You know what I'm starting to notice?
What
is with these comeback fourth quarter garbage games?
You know what it is? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have started a movement. Everyone has witnessed us like play half a game and make it all up in the fourth quarter, and they're like, you know what? They won 2 Grey Cups. Let's see if it works for us.
Well, because if you look at it, the two Calgary Edmonton back-to-back games, they did it in each game in the last quarter.
Yep.
This one, Edmonton scores 13 points in the last quarter.
16.
So overbeat.
I have 16.
It's like,
yeah, interesting thing I will say about the Elks in this game is they literally come out flat-footed with 0 in the first, and then they go 10-10-16 for the rest of the game. Now, they give up 14 in the third quarter, and so not ideal, but the offense for the Elks, minus the first quarter, was played pretty well this entire game. It's one of those things where the Elks offense has really been able to start producing now with Trey Ford. So I think the Elks this offseason, the biggest thing is going to be building more of that offense around Trey Ford, but then even more importantly, investing in the defense for the Edmonton Elks, just because it's one of those things where that's the weak spot. And because
the thing is, because they also have a running back in Kevin Brown who had 175 rushing yards, so they don't need to worry about having.
That's crazy. Back. Like, that's actually wild. He got 175 rushing yards
by 19 carries.
Wow, that is impressive. That is seriously impressive. Yeah, Trey Ford is 70. Trey Ford, it's funny. It's one of those things where for a while when Taylor Cornelius was playing, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, but look how good he is rushing. But it's like, now that Trey Ford is in, it's like, okay, but he can do both. He's really good when he's running. He's really good when he's throwing. So Trey Ford is definitely the way to go with that. They still got Cornelius in there for short yardage. Although I wonder what that contract is like, because that contract they signed was kind of the assumption that he was the starter. So I'm just kind of curious to see what the situation.
What I'd like to point out
Yep.
is their secret play that they ran where AC Leonard, the defensive tackle, gets a receiving touchdown.
Yeah, what the hell?
I mean, hey, if AJ Olette can throw a touchdown a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
Pass,
well, it's funny. I saw this play. I can't remember what team. I think it was the Broncos. It was in the NFL where the quarterback was about to get sacked and he was panicking. And so he was looking for anyone on his own team to ditch the ball to. And he throws it to an offensive lineman. And the guy catches it and he like looks back at the quarterback like, bro, I'm not eligible. What are you doing? Like, it was kind of this funny thing. But I mean, overall solid game here for the Elks. Kick returning, Sims would go. He'd get himself 102 yards. He'd go 25.5 on average. Dean Faithful would make both of his field goals, with his longest being 40 yards. And then if we're looking on the rider side of things, so Dolegala goes 20 for 34, which is not terrible, but it's one of those things where if you're the Saskatchewan Roughriders, you worry that Jake Dolegala gets Dustin Crum syndrome, which is where this quarterback comes in, makes a big impact, and then that shine starts to go away. No, but does that not make sense? Because that's exactly what happened with Dustin Crum. It was one of those things where injuries led to this guy coming in. He makes a big impact, big win in his first game, and then he's able to kind of carry that momentum through a few. But then when that starts to kind of go down, it slowly but surely starts to fall apart. And so it's one of those things where if you're the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I mean, you got blown the hell out when you're in Winnipeg. You had a solid game at home before that. You hope to keep that home momentum into the next game. Then you lose to the Edmonton Elks. Not a good sign. And so it's one of those things, and Jake Dolegala goes 20 for 34. And it's not that Jake Dolegala is an incapable quarterback by any means. You know, he throws 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, so good in that regard. But it's one of those things where I think you hope that passing percentage is going to be a bit higher, and that, you know, it would make total sense if you had that worry that shine does start to go away.
So just looking over his game so far, not including this week, because he had 3 touchdowns this week, but before this week, he went 70 for 114, 885 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he had those 3. Yep. He's thrown 7 touchdowns in 6 games.
Not bad.
Like, I mean, he's no Trevor Harris or freaking Mason Fine. I mean, people are saying that Mason Fine will go down as 3rd string now, but
I could see Mason Fine going down as 3rd string. I could see that, just in the sense of that, not that Mason Fine was terrible by any means. It was just one of those things where the potential to have a breakout, like the thing is that Mason Fine was always just fine, in the sense of he never had any brutally bad games. He never had any amazing games. With Dolegala, because he has that, at least that possibility of having an amazing game, he's a bit more of an attractive option. So, I mean, Trevor Harris is the clear starter in Saskatchewan. When he's healthy. But it's one of those things where I would not be surprised if Dolegala becomes that number 2 for the Riders. But it's one of those things where, especially for Dolegala, if he wants to go into that spot, he's got to make sure that this energy and this momentum that he's brought in, he keeps that up, just because, you know, you don't want that start to fade a little bit. But overall, I'd say it was a good game and a good win for the Edmonton Elks. And the next game of the week
was my personal favorite.
I have to discuss with the Ticats fan, because my life is just fucking terrible.
Also,
where
I want to just say
why Winnipeg Blue Bombers decide not to play half a game, but to play half a game, which is 1 quarter.
So
you have to say something?
I would like to say,
yes.
So this has been brought out by TSN when I watched, because I rewatched.
I know where this is going. I remember hearing this stat and it fucking pissed me off.
Probably where you think this is going.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going. Exactly. Exactly.
Have not won in Hamilton during the regular season since Zach Collaros has been our quarterback in 2017. So if you
we won the game that matters. Shut up. We won the Grey Cup in that fucking building.
they said take out the Grey Cups. You guys have not won in Hamilton during the regular season since 2017.
Yeah.
And yet the curse, the Mark Legio curse continues.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was so pissed that of course the game where Castillo has to miss 2 kicks is when he's playing against fucking Legio. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was so mad. I'm like, this is the game you chose, Sergio. Like,
So it's actually 1 field goal and 1 extra point, of which he missed.
Which went all the way back for 2 points.
Ran. My whole fun thing is, I like to call him Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. He was running from Harry and Marv.
He was running from the wet bandits.
And he ran 126 yards.
Now, one thing I will say, interesting thing of a rule change I'd be okay with. And it's funny, it would absolutely hurt the Bombers in this situation. I believe if you're able to run it all the way back, you should if the kick is missed or there's an interception on a 2-point conversion and the other team's able to run it all the way back, I think it should be a touchdown. Personal opinion, I think it should be, simply for the fact of, like, that is fucking impressive. So to only kind of get 2 points out of that is kind of, but just kind of a personal opinion. Even though it would hurt me in this situation, it's one of those things where if the CFL considered changing that rule, I would support that. So Bombers go down 12-6 in the first quarter, tied up 10 apiece in the second, go down 0-7 in the third quarter. Like, you know, like I was so mad that we went losing into halftime and then we come out with 0 in the third. Like, guys. And then we get to the fourth quarter, we put up 7, hold the Ticats to nothing, but it's one of those things where, like, I've said it time and time again, the Bombers gotta stop relying on the fourth quarter to come back and win, because it will bite you time and time again, and it bit us in this game. We just came back to, it was too little too late.
My thing with this was, as soon as because where I was sitting, I'm like, okay, here's the coin toss. When Winnipeg won the coin toss, they deferred to the second half. I'm like, okay, cool. We start with the ball.
Oh, I know where this is going, yeah.
Second half comes, and they're like, hey, well, we have the choice. We'll take the wind in the fourth. So then we start with the ball yet again in the third quarter.
Yeah, unless the wind is egregious, I don't really get it that much. Just because, I mean, that made kind of that made a bit of the difference in the Grey Cup, but the wind was significantly more. It was a lot. I'm pretty sure the wind was a lot stronger then than it was this past game.
And I will say, my guy Kachatonis got a sack and an interception.
Yeah,
in the game.
Collaros throws 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, almost 4, because Simone Lawrence almost had one, but the ball hit the ground, so it was ruled an incomplete pass. But, like, it was one of those things where, like, you know, Dembski and Schoen, both over 100 yards. Brady Oliveira, 46 yards. This has kind of been one of the I'd say this is one of the 2 games this year where Brady Oliveira wasn't really running on all cylinders the way that he could, in the sense of the game against Montreal earlier this year, where we just could not run the ball to save our absolute life, was the first one. This one was the second. It's just so weird. Like, how is our second leading rusher Rashid Bailey? Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, although I gotta say, like, Dakota Prukop in short yardage, he got the star of this game for the Bombers, because, like, I love Dakota Prukop in short yardage. He had 2 runs, got 16 yards. He got 16 fucking yards on a short yardage where you need like 1 or 2 yards at most. Like, the thing is that, like, literally, it could be, like, 3rd and 5, and it's like, bring in Dakota. He's going to get it done. Bring him out. He's going to hit that 5 yards. Like, it's actually crazy how much extra Dakota Prukop gets in short yardage. It's crazy.
I like the nice jet sweep by Tim White that ran for 52 yards.
Yeah, the Buck Pierce special. Oh my God. Yeah, just fucking salt in the fucking wound. Just.
Or if that didn't piss you off, how about this one where Powell throws it from the Winnipeg 48 into double coverage to, what was it, Omar Bayless, and you guys got the pass intercept.
Well, and that was the thing. It's like, guys, double coverage. You don't need to fucking touch the receiver. You got, like, seriously, one guy make sure that ball is getting swat away if it goes to the hands. The other guy, go for the interception. It's not that hard. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, that ball, if both of those guys aren't there, that guy, he is still not catching that ball. But it's like, but he got it right in his way, fucking pushed him right out of there. And it's like, guys, when it's like a 50-yard pass interference is not an option. Like, because the thing is with pass interference, it's at the point of the penalty. So it's like, oh yeah, he fucked him over about 48 yards. Fucking Taylor Powell walks the whole length of the field, didn't have to do shit for it. It was like, guys, stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, and the thing, and I talked about this in my video of the game, review. Make sure you check that out. Great video. Is that I'm frustrated by the lack of group tackles. And what I mean by that is that we'll have so let's say that you'll have like a throw to the outside. Say you're like a running back runs out. You'll throw to Butler. Butler then goes and runs upfield from the side. Yeah. Well, you'll see our DB come in and go to make the tackle, and the outside linebacker will kind of back him up behind it. And the outside linebacker will stand there with fucking Jimmy hands watching this guy try to get the tackle, and then he'll be like, fuck, I guess you missed it. It's time for me. And it's like, why do we have to wait for the first guy to fail before we decide to go in? Why can't we both tackle him? It's one of those things where it's like get an arm, get a leg, it's something. Like I understand the fact that you're worried about overcommitting and then he gets past both of you, but you can't play so overtly cautious that you're giving up like an extra 5 yards all the time. Just grab onto him, especially if that first guy's able to like kind of keep him somewhat still. It shouldn't be too hard for you to get on him. Like it's one of those things where it's frustrating because every time that happens, you're giving up at least an extra 3 yards. And, that it adds up. It adds up. And sometimes the cause is first downs. And it's frustrating.
I mean, Powell went 20 for 26, 236 yards. Yeah, he only threw for 1 touchdown because Loxley. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was Kyle Loxley. It's K Loxley. I don't know why I was calling him Kyle.
Yep.
And then James Butler got the other touchdown. Like, I mean, he hasn't been playing that bad. Like, he's been playing.
No. 20 for 26 is good. No.
Then Legio decides, I'm going to pull Sergio Castillo and go 3 for 3 and get all of my extra points.
Like, I want to know, did they, like, swap jerseys before the start of this game? Like real question here. Like, because that's kind of how it seemed. And with Zach Alera's, like, it's so confusing because, like, on one hand, he threw 344 yards. Impressive. On the other hand, he went 21 for 35. On the other hand, he threw 3 picks, but really kind of 4, even though the last one technically was an incomplete pass. That totally, like, Simone Lawrence was this close to getting that ball. And it was just one of those things where it sucks because the one thing with Zach Caleros I've noticed, for the fact that this guy, phenomenal fucking quarterback, seriously, just like, future Hall of Famer, is that once he throws 1 pick, gets a little rattled. And it's something where I get worried because sometimes he kind of struggles to calm down, and he got Jimmy feet. He got total Jimmy feet this game, and it got to his head. And so it's one of those things where Zach Caleros, he's got to settle down, get back into his game, shake it off, and get going again. But overall, I don't know if you got anything else to say about this game.
So
Do you?
I'm curious to find out, because when you guys lost to Saskatchewan,
Mm-hmm.
Collaros came out and played an outstanding game last week. Can we just skip next week and you guys just play Toronto right away so we can see if Collaros comes like fire?
Well, the Bombers have a bye.
Oh, do they have a bye next week? Oh, so they get to keep all that fire for the Argos the week after.
Yes. Bombers have a bye week 16. So
And you'll be at that one too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited for this one because, like, for me, I have waited for this game. We must have revenge.
Since
Anyways,
last year's Grey Cup.
We don't talk about it. It is the game which must not be named. The game that must not be named. It's like Voldemort. All right. But we got one more game this week. We're going for a little bit of a longer one today, but we're having fun, which is where the BC Lions beat the Ottawa Redblacks. Fuck Ottawa. Like, Ottawa. God damn it. You fucking had this game. You had this game. You had him beat. You had him, it's like you gave him like the 1-2 Mayweather. He's on the ropes. He's on the ropes. All you got to do, knock the fucker out. Holy crap. The BC Lions summoned together from the divine power of Jesus the crumb back from Ottawa to themselves to get 23 points and give up nothing in the fourth quarter. Like, guys, oh my God. I'm actually pissed that Ottawa fucked this up. They got 21 points in the third quarter just to piss it away 15 minutes later. So Ottawa would go up 6-1 in the first. The Lions would put up 14 in the second. Ottawa Redblacks would put up only 10. Then not the Alouettes. What the fuck am I saying? Then the Redblacks would put up 21-3 in the third, just to do absolutely nothing in the fourth. Like, when the CFL says that there is no lead that is safe, holy shit. This game, case in point number one, 37-18, doesn't matter. We suck. I'm frustrated. Like, and it's one of those things where it's like if you're the Redblacks, Lewis Ward hits 2 53-yard field goals to start this game. Like, oh my goodness. Like, Lewis Ward had just a excellent game for the Redblacks. Like, seriously, like, I know he went 3 for 4, but 2 field goals from 53 yards, that is crazy. And so it's one of those things where the Redblacks had played so well up until that fourth quarter, and then just everything just vanished all at once. But the thing that's kind of amazing is that they got there, and Dustin Crum was 19 for 30. I don't know I would love to know what his completion percentage was going into the fourth quarter. But it's one of those things where it's like you wonder kind of how they got that much with him only going 19 for 30. And then if you look at on the BC side of things, Vernon Adams Jr. goes 26 for 37. They 37 pass attempts, quite a lot for the Lions. And then Vernon Adams Jr. would also be the leading rusher in this game for the Lions. Turns out the BC Lions have no running backs, because the next guy in rushing yards has 13 on 5 carries. So it's one of those things where it's kind of crazy, because you could tell that McGinnis, Whitehead, and Catoy were just kind of carrying in the receiving depth of this. So it'll be interesting to see how it's going to be for the Lions when Dominic Rhymes comes back. But overall, it was quite something. What did you think of this, Rick?
So to answer your question while you're talking, I was just scrolling away.
And what was the question that I asked again? I'm trying to remember.
threw 3 passes in the whole fourth quarter. 3
So
passes.
so that means, and I'm gonna assume that none of them
16.
were completion. I'm gonna so
so 3 of those.
so he would have went
completion.
19 for 27. Because I'm assuming he missed those 3 passes.
Yes.
So yeah, he would have went.
No, those were 3 completions.
How many attempts?
So if you. Oh, in that quarter?
In the fourth, yeah.
Let's see. 1, 2.
No, I'm just kind of curious about that because I want to see what his record was going in. You know, but I mean, like, yeah, like
4,
you just counting them up.
5.
Then what's his name?
5.
So you had 5 attempts total?
Yeah. Because I don't count sacks.
No. Well, you shouldn't. Because, like, I mean, interesting thing that is, he would have went 16 for 25. Still not that great. Not like egregiously terrible, but not that great. Jay Hardy. I'm trying. What's Hardy's first name?
Justin.
I see. What? Yeah. See, because I think Jeff Hardy. I think of like Jeff Hardy. So I get confused whenever I see that. It throws me off.
I don't even know what's up with Red Blacks receiving because after 114 it goes down to 41.
Well, here's the question: why did they only throw to Braylon Addison once? He got 20 yards on 1 pass. Like, you'd think that after you get that, you would then, start to throw to him a little more because it worked out pretty well before, but that's kind of not what happened.
Devontae Williams led their team with 18 carries for 66. Crum had 9 carries for 46.
So at least over 100 rushing yards.
Then if you go on the other side, here's an interesting stat for you. Vernon Adams.
This is what I was telling you.
BC Lions, 5 carries for 45 yards.
Yeah, because I was literally saying how, if you want to know the running back situation on the BC Lions, after Vernon Adams Jr., the next guy with rushing yards got 13 yards on 5 carries. On 5 fucking carries. That's pathetic. That is pathetic. Like, it's one of those things where the BC Lions, if you're starting to wonder why the BC Lions have kind of been in free fall for a while, and, I mean, it's good that they finally won this game because they really needed it. Like, there's no running game. There's nothing. There's no, the BC Lions, their receiving, like their passing game is excellent, but it's predictable in the sense if you shut down the passing game, Lions are fucked. So
yeah, but the thing is with the Lions is you never know who's going to have that big game. Hollins has been having a big game
true.
As of late. Last night was Justin McInnes.
Yep.
It's just like Toronto. You never know who Toronto's top receiver is going to be.
But it's one of those things where, like, when you start to think about playoffs and making a push and whatnot, like, you gotta have to have some sort of running game. And just Vernon Adams Jr. can't be the only solution.
Yeah.
But, so.
I mean, who are they playing this week? Because I'm curious to see.
This next week they're playing Edmonton in Edmonton, so that will be a fun game, especially with Edmonton coming off.
No, I was talking about the other one. So Friday night, 7 p.m. is Saskatchewan at Ottawa, which would have been an interesting had Edmonton won the games that I wanted them to play. Because so here's the funny thing: had Ottawa won against BC. You could start that speech that talk about the whole East crossover to the West.
I see.
But
yeah, no, it's one of those things though where like the Elks have a realistic chance to pass the stamps. They probably will, to be honest. So,
I mean, Calgary has a game in hand.
yeah, but I mean, with the games they have been playing, they haven't been doing much with them. So.
You know what's even better?
What?
So I know we're talking about this game, but I just wanted to throw this out because we're talking about teams and that. So everyone was crapping on Mark Washington, our defensive coordinator, for having such a crappy defense.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the standings, Ottawa, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, and almost Montreal have a worse defense than us.
Yeah. Then there you go.
Like, that's almost saying that we have like one of the top defense in all of the league.
Yeah, I'd say your guys are about like middle of the pack. So you're
middle of the pack.
Not the worst thing in the world. It is what it is. It's Saskatchewan Roughrider syndrome. Anyways, I've covered all the bases I want for this video. This video's went long. We're at like 36 minutes.
There's one thing that I'm gonna say.
Oh.
One thing that I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. Come over to our Instagram channel. Throw in some messages into the DM for any questions for Dean Faithful for Wednesday night's interview.
Yes.
If not,
make sure you do that.
to our Twitter channel. And our video will be coming out Thursday.
Feel free to comment down below. Yes. Make sure to get those questions in, though, by ideally Wednesday morning. But another thing I will say is we have or I guess Rick has an announcement to make as Rick has. Do you want me to do it or you want to do it yourself?
So not only does Carter do bomber reviews on Nolan
oh my God, Nolan! No!
Nolan Hockey Podcast. But also, I am going to be doing Ticat previews and reviews. CFL daily news as far as injuries, call-up sundowns, and interesting drafts and CFL free agency live streams over on Ticat Talk Network on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
I know you could have done it a lot better, but
no, it's okay. You got to get used to this. You got to get used to this, Rick.
You're like, oh no.
No, I said oh no because you fucked up my name. But anyways, it's been a great time. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. Make sure you guys comment down below what you guys thought of the of this week's game, and we will see you guys next time.